Right, I have pretty much been with Tony Robbins now for 4 months, and I thought I would do an update to give you a real honest review of what that experience has been like for the last 4 months with Tony Robbins Results Coaching. That's the elite coaching program that I joined up with. If you want to see my last video about signing up and why I signed up, I'll drop it there, but stay tuned. I'm going to go through everything in this video to explain to you what my first 4 months have been like with Tony Robbins Elite Coaching. Okay, so first things first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson, and quite simply, I am from the United Kingdom, and maybe you haven't seen anything on my YouTube channel where this is the first time you're coming in. Quite simply, I'm an Amazon seller. I buy low from retail stores and I sell into Amazon. Now, I have 2 businesses that we have pretty much 30 staff across 2 businesses who are doing that, and we help other Amazon sellers. That's my main business as well. And we focus on Amazon as a marketplace that we sell on and supporting other Amazon sellers. In addition to this, I also travel the world, and having spent the last 3 years out in Asia, right now I'm actually in Gran Canaria of the west coast of Africa, part of Spain technically, and the reason I'm here is quite simply it's warm and COVID is obviously having an effect on travel across the world. But I've got big plans for next year, and as part of that is, should we say, the Tony Robbins Results Coaching, which is supporting me in those plans. And today I really want to go through what it's been like, an honest review of my first 4 months, and obviously I can share that with you and let you know what that's been like. And hey, maybe you're thinking of signing up, maybe you're thinking of joining the Tony Robbins Results Coaching Program, hopefully this is going to be the video for you that's going to help you understand what it's been like for me and in my journey as well. Okay, so pretty much simply I started on the 22nd of July. That was my very first call, not when I actually signed up for the very first call. Today we're about middle of November, so it's been pretty much 4 months to the date, so about a third of the way through. And in this video, what I'm going to go through is what the first couple of calls were like, how they happened. I'm then also going to go through what we discussed in the calls and what those calls are like, each coaching calls. Now they did vary, but I'll give you a quick kind of summary. I'll also talk through what my goals were for each call, how it happened. I'll talk you through some headlines of like what I wanted to address. Going through them, we documented the whole process. And then also as well, I'll talk about maybe somewhere my wobbles were. What happened when things didn't go to plan and how did we deal with it? And then finally, what I'm going to do is answer the question, if I could do it again, could I do it cheaper, even for free perhaps? And I'll answer that question at the end, because I know that's something a lot of people asked or have asked on my previous video as well. So I'll try and tackle that in this one. Maybe if you're thinking it's quite a big expense, is there anything I can recommend? First things first, let's have some coffee. Now, quite simply, in that first call, what did we go through? Well, very simply, we started off just talking about what's the difference between a coach, a mentor, a consultant, what is coaching, really setting the baseline. Now, if you watched my previous video, I'd had previous experience with coaches, and I really understand that the coaches are to support me, to help me get the best of me. They don't give me the answers. They don't tell me what to do. I fully understood from the beginning that this isn't going to be a training session or a coaching session whereby I ask them a question and they give me the answer and I go away and do it. No, it's about me finding the right answer for me. And that might be different to the answer for you. So not getting the answers from the call, it's about you finding those answers. That's something really important to understand. It isn't a one-stop shop for answers. Now, we got over that quite quickly because I was already aware of it. And then we talked about setting some goals. Now, for me, pretty much I set 3 goals. One of them was to do with my FastTrackFBA business in an area we're trying to develop. So I'm not going to go too much into that. The other one is my Amazon business, and this is about the goal, setting the goal on the road to 1 million. This is where we're trying to do £1 million in revenue next year. If you're interested, I'll drop a link up there. And then finally, the third goal, and I'm always a big believer in it, is a personal goal. And for me, that was about getting healthier, getting fitter, and really defining that. And quite simply for that, the question that was asked was about, well, what does healthier, fitter look like? And we broke that down really into manageable results, manageable, measurable things that we can get results. Now, I said I wanted to get a 6-pack, I wanted to feel good. And we kind of looked at it and said, well, what does that look like? Well, we said, well, that would be probably a 15% body fat. It'd probably mean I need to work out in the gym 4 times a week and I need to eat a good diet. So we kind of explored that even further and then actually got put down, it is 4 times a week, it is 15% body fat, and then also what is a good diet look like? So watching the calories, counting the calories, and also how are we recording these? So this is about getting scales digital scales. And the kind of questions that were asked were, of my coach, Mahindra, of Tom, how are you going to measure that? How are you actually going to measure it? How are you going to make sure you get there? Because you can set a goal, you can set a result, but it doesn't mean you're actually going to achieve it unless you can measure that progress. So a lot of it was around not just setting a goal, putting the measurables in place, but also about how we actually going to do that in real life. And that was quite interesting, and that was really helpful for me, just to, number one, set the goal, but number two, set that very clear expectation about how I'm going to track it on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, month-to-month. That's going to support me in achieving that goal. Now, quite simply, I will kind of give you a rundown, and I basically went through all my coaching forms, because you complete a coaching form 24 hours before every call. You send it to your coach. I love it. I think it's a great thing. It just gets me on track of how's it been since we last talked, what's gone on, and where do I want to go going forward. I've stripped some of them out, and I'm just going to kind of share a couple now, things I wanted to focus on. So obviously, you've got to appreciate that some of these are quite personal, so I might skip some or give you a kind of a vague idea. But over the last couple of sessions, 10 sessions, I think I had a problem within one of my teams and something was going on. And I really wanted to talk about that. I really wanted to talk about what was going on with the way I'm treating them, the target setting and staff, and taking action, giving them right action. And we had a long conversation about that over one of our coaching sessions, and it was really, really beneficial. And that was pretty much around myself as a personality, but also as well how I support my team and what's about me. Second one that we kind of looked at was defining business clarity. So this was, a lot of this is around my business. So sections, KPIs, really clearly defining them, and actually seeing, just getting a sense check on my KPIs within my business to say, I think these should be where I should be focusing. What do you think? And they were pretty much on point, but there were a couple of areas that needed clarifying, clearing up, which just gave me a lot more detail in where I wanted to address, and that was around sales, marketing, service, lots of stuff that we're doing. I won't lie, for 3 weeks I had this, not for 3 weeks, for 1 week actually, I had the same problem. I literally didn't write anything down from the previous week. I forgot to say what I was going to do. I just got so caught up in the moment, and we realised that I didn't write anything down, and as a result I didn't action it, and I was like, damn, that was a wasted session. But I still turned up to the session. I still turned up to that coaching session and just said that. I said, I'm sorry I didn't write it down. And we learned then that I need to basically share that back in a method. And for me, I just share it back in our Skype, literally chat afterwards to say, here's what I'm going to action immediately after the call, because I can reference back to it and know what's going on. We had pretty much some targets for my business in the USA, what we're doing there, which was really good. And interesting enough, I put them off for a week. And I asked why. I was kind of like, not so much why did I put them off, I kind of knew that, but it wasn't so much like, why was I putting them off? Why wasn't I focusing on them? I said that they were a target that I wanted to achieve, but I didn't. And we went through a whole kind of fear setting exercise, a whole kind of emotional bit. And a lot of it is about me, how I manage my business and my team. That was really useful. So I actually took that learning from there and applied it to some other problems we had in our business and shared that with my team as well. That was really useful. I had 2 really big projects working on, really, really big projects. And I kind of just sat down with my coach and talked through both projects, the pros and cons of both of them. And I said I could only focus on one. Which one should I focus on? And we sat down and we had that conversation around them. Which one should I be doing and focusing on? Because I was kind of diddly-daddling between both of them. Diddly-daddling. What a word. But quite simply, what I said was I was diddly-daddling across both of them, and I didn't really take action on any one of them. So after having a call with my coach explaining where my problem was, what my issue was, and where I wanted to be, we pretty much put one to bed and said, look, that's going to hold fire. This one's the one we're going to focus on, get that done, and then we'll focus on this one afterwards. And that was a really, really good process, and I was really happy with that. That made such a big difference to our business and made such an impact. So I'm very, very happy. Now, another one, a lot of this is around Tony Robbins, and the coaching is about learning about you as a person or learning about me. When we first sign up, you go through a disc. I think it's like dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Don't quote me on that. It's a personality assessment. And I got the results back from that, and I read through it. It's quite a big document, probably about 15 pages. And then throughout this whole coaching session, or all of them, pretty much I probably refer back to that 5, 6, 7 times perhaps. We now do it within our company. We get disc profiles for our staff, because I can see how they work. And I found it so useful. And I think the most important thing for me is that I've learned about me, what I'm doing, the way I react to certain things, where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and how I should be reacting as a person, knowing maybe where my strengths and weaknesses are. So I've constantly been going back to that disc because I'm learning more about me and what motivates me and what not. Now, there's a really interesting point. The reason why I come back to that is that sometimes I will work very, very hard, but then I'll get distracted. And a classic example, which I'm sure you all know as well, you sit there and you start watching YouTube for hours and hours and hours on end. You know, I should be doing something, but I end up just clicking on a new YouTube channel. I was like, why? Why am I doing this? I want something, but I'm not doing it. And we talked with my coach a lot about like my monkey brain and the way I'm still a primate technically. You know, we've only been in this world for a short time. You know, we haven't evolved to modern computers. They haven't even been around for very long, and the stimulations all change. So for me and my body and my brain, I still need to have that creativity, that fun, that variety in my life. And unfortunately, focusing on work isn't that. I can do work, but not all the time. So we talked about setting out times in my day and my week when I can have that variety that can really give me that stimulation that's going to make my monkey brain happy. And as a result, because that's happy, then I can focus on work outside of that. Now, what's been really interesting is that I've actually become more productive. By taking an hour, 2 hours, sometimes a day out, I'm actually more productive in that time that I'm not doing that. So during my normal working hours, I'm getting so much more done, which has had a real impact. And again, I come back to the point of I'm learning so much about me and how I work that I can become the best me is probably the biggest takeaway I will take from Tony Robbins training, honestly. And again, I come back to a couple of other ones around business. We had a really decent session on RPM, rapid planning method, which is a Tony Robbins approach. And I talked about a concern that I was having, and my coach suggested reading up about it. He gave me a quick summary of how it worked. I went away and researched it quite detailed. I started creating RPMs, and then my coach was like, hey, can I have a look at them? I'll let you know what they are. And he pointed out a few things, and I was like, fantastic. And it's been really, really beneficial for me. But interestingly enough, my coach, I'm a very big kind of blue sky thinker. I think in the air. A lot of my stuff is in the air, in my head. And when I need to write it down, I will, but I can juggle it all in my head. Now, the big thing is that with the RPM method, and my coach said this, was that he said, Tom, what you do is you use the RPM to plan it all out, to plan it, but you don't really update it as often. You don't need to keep it updated. You can manage it in your head, and that's fine. And he said, that works for you. A lot of people would need to keep it updated quite regularly, everything tick, 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 done, crossed off, but you pretty much know what's going on, and that's not a problem. So what was really nice to hear is that he took the Tony Robbins approach, or what he's done, and says, actually, for you right now, here's where it's working. And here's how it works for you. And I really like that. It's not to say that I might change in the future, I might do, but it was taking an approach that Tony Robbins does and adapting it slightly for the way I work that's actually allowed me to see better results. And I really like that. It's a very individualized approach to what was a successful product or a successful process of working that Tony Robbins has created. And that's pretty much it. I've got 12 things here on my laptop that I've gone through, and pretty much, I think it's 10 calls. So there's lots and lots of different areas of the approach, and I'm not going to go into them too much because they're quite sensitive for my business. But the one thing which I will share with you is that if you are thinking about getting a coach, the biggest thing I would ever say to anyone, be honest, be completely honest. I go into my coaching sessions literally saying everything. I do not hold anything back. Why? Because I've realized that if I hold something back, all I'm doing is holding it back from me. My coach is there to support me, and if I'm not honest with them, how can they be helpful and support me? So, top tip for you, be super, super honest with your coach if you are looking at it. Coffee. Now look, I'll come back to my wobbles. I talked about this earlier. I talked about, there was one session where we had a coaching session. We defined what I needed to do, but for the next session, I defined that, said here's what I want to do. And then when the next session came, as part of writing that document was to say, what are you going to do? What did you agree to do and what happened? And I literally didn't do anything. Now I could have not shown up, or I could have made it up, but I was completely honest. I literally said I didn't do it. And what was really, really interesting was having that conversation with my coach. Was like, why? And what we identified is that unless I write something down immediately, it just doesn't happen. Like I talk about I can manage stuff in my brain, I can, but unless I write it down, I can't clearly define what it is. So if it's important, I need to write it down immediately and then it will get actioned. But if I don't, it won't happen. So just that act of writing something down for me is very, very important. And the one thing I say is I kept coming back, even if I think 1 week we had the same targets, or for 3 weeks we had the same targets. That's the same things I wanted to discuss for 3 weeks. Why? I was struggling, and it wasn't so much about the targets themselves, there were lots of other bits. But as we went through more and more sessions, I started to develop and understand more, and we eventually got over them and managed to get results in those targets. But I knew what I wanted, but I had to keep acting on it, keep challenging it with my coach. That was super important. It's been 10 sessions now, and I pretty much have a session every week to a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks. We can move them around. They're not preset. We literally book one straight after the other one. Now, quite simply, how's it been? It's been really helpful, really, really helpful. My plans for next year are probably 10x'd. My results of what I've achieved so far has been amazing. And do you know what's been really interesting? Is that people have actually commented on me or commented to me to say, I can really see the results. I can really see what's going on. From an outside perspective, they're like, things are just blowing up. So my businesses are booming. We've probably doubled revenue in the best place in like 3 months, and you can watch that on my Amazon journey. My FastTrackFBA business, where we support, if I give you an idea, we've got probably 26 staff across that now. That's really big, especially considering 3 months ago we were probably half that, so we've doubled in 3 months' time, which is huge. And then also as well, we've got big plans for next year, and I'm really happy with that. And right now, you're probably watching this as a YouTube channel of about 1,400 people, which I'm really, really happy with, and that's probably doubled in the last 3 months. But hey, maybe when you're watching this, it's going to be a lot bigger, and you'll kind of see how far it's gone. So it's been really successful, and I'm really happy. I'm only about a third of the way through, and that's the slowest third. Once you get through it, it's going to start getting a lot quicker. But my opinion, if you're thinking about it, it's been so beneficial. It's given me results. And biggest takeaway, I've learned about me. I've learned my strengths, my weaknesses. I've had someone to challenge me, but also sort of talk to me about where I can get better. And I've seen that in my team, the people around me, everything that I do. I play to my strengths now, and I understand my strengths a lot more, and I understand my weaknesses a lot more, and I'm so much more self-aware of where I add value. That is it. And I think if there's one takeaway from all of this, it's going to be that. It's the fact that I am a better person for it, and I'm more self-aware. And that is powerful. Now, the one question you might ask me, and I said at the beginning, was, but if I could do it again, could I do it free, or would I even do it for free, or even cheaper? Could I go somewhere else? I think the answer I'd always say to anyone is everything that I'm learning in these coaching calls available on the internet? Pretty much. All the words are there, all the information's there. But it's about time. And the one thing I value the most in my life is my time. I'm never going to get it back. And I think I could sit there for hours searching YouTube, searching for the answers, but I don't have time. And if I'm going to give you a really good example, if I have 2 things I need to work on, and I choose one, and I work on it for a month, and at the end of the month I'm finished, and then I look back and I realise I should have actually worked on the other one, but I did the one I chose. Why? Because I liked it, because it was the easier option. Maybe it's because I felt a bit more interested in it. But knowing me, knowing my strengths, knowing my weaknesses, that's so powerful, because it allows me to see maybe I'm not making the best decision. And it's my time. Is the most important thing. So could you do this for cheaper? Could you do it for for free? Yes, of course you could. But again, I don't think you're going to get the results in the time. And when you're dealing with businesses who are aiming to do 6 figures, 7 figures, and you're doing 8 figures and above, this isn't a matter of wasting your time. Your time is the most important asset. So for me, in my life, and what I've learned about this has been very much around getting the most out of me, getting the best out of me, and doing it in a very quick, short, and efficient amount of time, which has allowed me to continue moving forward. So if you're thinking about it, and hey, if it's something you can afford, definitely, I think it is going to be a no-brainer. It's going to add so much value, but also go into it that this isn't the answer. It doesn't give you the answers. It allows you to find the answers. And again, that's coming back to coaching. It's about finding the answers in you as opposed to giving you the answers. So super aware of that. Hopefully you found it useful. Drop me a comment down below. Maybe you've got some questions. I'll try and get back to all of them. I'll let you know. But hey, from me, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.